What if I told you that a college dropout would become one of the most influential people in human history? What if I told you that this same person would not only revolutionize how we interact with technology, but would also dedicate his life to solving humanity's greatest challenges? This is the story of William Henry Gates III, Bill Gates. But this isn't just another rags to riches story. This is about something far more powerful, the anatomy of ambition itself. When we think of Bill Gates today, we see the philanthropist, the global health advocate, the man trying to eradicate diseases and poverty. But beneath that lies something extraordinary, a mindset that refused to accept limitations, a relentless curiosity that turned obstacles into opportunities, and an ambition so vast it literally changed the world. Today, we're not just going to talk about what Bill Gates accomplished. We're going to dissect how he did it and, more importantly, how you can apply these same principles to your own journey toward greatness. Welcome back to States of Ambition, the channel where we dive deep into the minds and journeys of the world's most successful people to unlock the secrets of extraordinary achievement. I'm your host, and if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because we're about to embark on a journey that could change how you think about success, failure, and the relentless pursuit of your dreams. Today, we're exploring the incredible story of Bill Gates, but not the version you think you know. We're going beyond the surface to uncover the mindset, the strategies, and the pivotal moments that transformed a curious teenager into one of the most influential people in human history. Bill Gates wasn't born into poverty, but he also wasn't handed success on a silver platter. Born in 1955 in Seattle, he was the son of a lawyer and a teacher. But here's what set him apart from day one: an insatiable hunger for understanding how things work. At age 13, Gates encountered his first computer at Lakeside School, a teletype machine connected to a mainframe. While other kids saw a confusing machine with blinking lights, Gates saw the future. But here's the key lesson. He didn't just see it. He obsessed over it. Gates would spend hours, then days, then weeks learning programming. He didn't have YouTube tutorials or online courses. He had punch cards, cryptic manuals, and pure determination. He would sneak out of his house at night to get more computer time. He would skip classes, ignore social events, and dedicate every available moment to mastering this new language. This is your first lesson in the anatomy of ambition. True ambition isn't about wanting success. It's about becoming obsessed with mastery. Most people say they want to be successful, but they're not willing to become obsessed. They want the results without the relentless pursuit. Gates didn't just want to use computers. He wanted to understand them at a level that few others could match. And here's what's crucial. This obsession wasn't about the money or fame. At 13, Gates wasn't thinking about becoming a billionaire. He was thinking about the next problem to solve, the next program to write, and the next system to understand. Takeaway for your journey. Find something that makes you lose track of time. Something that makes you forget to eat, forget to sleep. Something that pulls you in so completely that the outside world disappears. That's not just a hobby. That's your calling trying to get your attention. By 1975, Gates was at Harvard University, one of the most prestigious institutions in the world. He was on track for a conventional path to success: graduate, get a good job, climb the corporate ladder. But then something happened that would change everything. His friend Paul Allen showed him a magazine featuring the Altair 8800, one of the first microcomputers available to the public. While most people saw an interesting gadget, Gates and Allen saw something revolutionary: the dawn of personal computing. Here's where most people would have said, "That's interesting. Maybe I'll look into it after I graduate." But Gates had developed something that separates the truly ambitious from everyone else: the ability to recognize opportunity when it knocks and the courage to act on it immediately. Gates didn't wait for permission. He didn't wait for the right time. He called the company that made the Altair and told them he had software for their machine. Software that didn't even exist yet. This wasn't just confidence. This was audacious ambition in action. In just 8 weeks, working virtually non-stop, Gates and Allen created a basic interpreter for the Altair. They delivered on their promise, and in doing so, they didn't just create software, they created Microsoft. But here's the part that takes real courage. Gates made the decision to drop out of Harvard. Imagine that conversation with his parents. Imagine the doubt, the fear, the pressure to play it safe. This is your second lesson. Ambition requires courage to bet on yourself when no one else will. It requires the willingness to walk away from security in pursuit of significance. Every successful person faces this moment, the moment when they have to choose between the safe path and the path that could lead to extraordinary impact. Gates chose impact. For your journey, there will come a moment when you have to choose between what's safe and what's possible. The question isn't whether that moment will come. It's whether you'll have the courage to choose possibility over security. Starting Microsoft wasn't just about having a good idea. Gates and Allen were entering a field that barely existed, trying to build something that most people couldn't even understand. But this is where Gates's true genius showed itself. Not just in his technical skills, but in his relentless execution. In the early days of Microsoft, Gates didn't just code. He was the CEO, the chief strategist, the head of sales, and often the janitor. He would work 16-hour days, sleep on the office floor, and be back at his computer before anyone else arrived. But here's what made Gates different from other hard-working entrepreneurs. He had an almost supernatural ability to see around corners. While others were focused on the immediate problem, Gates was thinking 5, 10, or even 20 years ahead. When IBM came to Microsoft looking for an operating system for their personal computer, most small companies would have jumped at the chance to work with the tech giant. But Gates didn't just see a contract, he saw the future of computing. He negotiated a deal that allowed Microsoft to retain the rights to the operating system. IBM got what they wanted, but Gates got something far more valuable, the foundation for what would become MS-DOS, and eventually Windows. This decision alone would generate billions in revenue and establish Microsoft as the dominant force in personal computing. But it wasn't luck. It was strategic thinking combined with relentless execution. Lesson 3. Ambition without execution is just a daydream. Gates didn't just have big ideas, he had the discipline to execute those ideas with precision and persistence. During the 1980s and 1990s, while Microsoft was growing into a global powerhouse, Gates maintained an intensity that bordered on the impossible. He would read every line of code, review every product decision, and push his teams to levels of excellence that many thought were unreachable. He was known for his demanding meetings, his tough questions, and his refusal to accept anything less than the best possible work. Some called him difficult. Gates called it necessary. For your journey, your ambition is only as strong as your commitment to execution. Ideas are everywhere, but the discipline to execute those ideas with excellence day after day, year after year, that's what separates dreamers from achievers. By the year 2000, Bill Gates had accomplished what many would consider impossible. Microsoft was the most valuable company in the world, and Gates was the richest person on the planet. He had won the game of business so completely that he could have retired and lived in luxury for the rest of his life. But here's what separates truly ambitious people from everyone else. Success doesn't satisfy them. It energizes them for the next challenge. Gates began to ask himself a different question. Now that I've proven I can build a successful company, what's the most important problem I can solve with the resources I've accumulated? The answer led him to global health, education, and poverty. Through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, he began applying the same intensity and strategic thinking that built Microsoft to some of humanity's greatest challenges. But here's what's remarkable. Gates did not approach philanthropy like a typical wealthy donor writing checks and attending galas. He approached it like an entrepreneur solving complex problems. He studied malaria like he once studied computer code. He analyzed education systems like he once analyzed market opportunities. He applied data, metrics, and relentless optimization to saving lives and improving human conditions. The Gates Foundation has helped cut extreme poverty in half, reduced child mortality by millions of lives, and brought diseases like polio to the brink of eradication. This isn't just generosity, this is ambition redirected toward impact. Lesson 4. True ambition evolves. What drives you at 20 may not be what drives you at 40 or 60. The most ambitious people don't just achieve success. They redefine what success means as they grow. For your journey, start asking yourself not just, what do I want to achieve, but what problems do I want to solve? The shift from personal ambition to purposeful ambition is what transforms successful people into significant people. Throughout his entire journey, from teenager to tech mogul to global philanthropist, one thing has remained constant about Bill Gates: his commitment to continuous learning. Gates reads about 50 books per year. He takes annual Think Weeks, where he disappears from the world to read, reflect, and plan. He surrounds himself with experts who challenge his thinking and expand his understanding. This isn't the behavior of someone who thinks they've figured it all out. This is the behavior of someone who understands that ambition requires humility. The humility to know that no matter how much you've achieved, there's always more to learn. Gates approaches new fields, whether it's vaccine development, nuclear energy, or climate change, with the same beginner's mind he brought to programming at age 13. He asks basic questions, challenges assumptions, and isn't afraid to admit what he doesn't know. Lesson 5. Ambition is fueled by curiosity. The moment you stop learning is the moment your ambition begins to die. For your journey, commit to being a lifelong student. Read voraciously, ask questions relentlessly, and never let success convince you that you have nothing left to learn. So what can we learn from Bill Gates' extraordinary journey? How can you apply these insights to your own pursuit of significance? First, develop obsessive focus. Gates didn't scatter his energy across dozens of interests. He found his calling and pursued it with laser-like intensity. Find your obsession and let it drive you. Second, embrace intelligent risk. Gates dropped out of Harvard not because he was reckless, but because he calculated that the potential reward was worth the risk. Learn to evaluate opportunities not just based on what you might lose, but on what you might gain. Third, execute relentlessly. Ideas without execution are worthless. Gates combined visionary thinking with disciplined implementation. Dream big, but work even bigger. Fourth, think in decades, not quarters. Gates built Microsoft by thinking about where computing would be in 10 to 20 years, not just the next fiscal quarter. Develop the patience to build something significant. Fifth, evolve your ambition. Let your success become the foundation for even greater impact. As you achieve your goals, set bigger ones that serve not just yourself, but the world around you. Sixth, never stop learning. Curiosity is the fuel of ambition. The moment you think you know enough is the moment you start falling behind. Bill Gates once said, "Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. This is the essence of ambitious thinking, the understanding that extraordinary achievements require both immediate intensity and long-term patience. Your journey won't look like Bill Gates's journey. Your challenges will be different, your opportunities will be unique, and your path will be your own. But the principles that drove Gates from a curious teenager to one of the most influential people in history, those principles are available to you right now. The question isn't whether you have the potential for greatness. The question is whether you have the courage to pursue it with the same relentless intensity that has driven every person who has ever changed the world.